just wanna run, hide it away, run because they're chasing me down.
So how does it feel to be back in Canada?
Awesome. Great, yeah. We played for Warped Tour this summer, and it was awesome. Played Montreal, Toronto, and the response was really overwhelming. We actually hadn't really played anywhere in Canada before, so it was surprising how many kids were into the music.
Do you notice the difference between Canadian and American fans?
A little bit, yeah. Yeah, I feel like they're a little more polite.
Right,
honestly.
Really?
Yeah.
So you guys are on the Somerset Travelin Show. I know it's just started for you guys, probably like 2 weeks, but has there been any crazy tour stories or anything interesting happening?
Well, they pranked us the first few days that we were here.
First few days?
Instead of the other way around. Brian, are you listening?
Oh, I'm listening. I'm listening. I'm waiting to hear how well you tell the story.
Let me just put it this way: we get on the tour, and immediately one of the Stereo Skyline guys comes up to me and says, "You know, it's been kind of a rough tour so far because the Somerset guys, they're not that cool to us, and they're just kind of treating us badly." And I was just like, I wanted to stay out of it. And for the next 2 days, it was just this elaborate prank where the Somerset and Stereo Skyline would do anything they could while in earshot of us to convince us that they were in a feud. And so it ended in Boston with us loading out our gear, and the Somerset and Stereo Skyline get into this
huge brawl,
fist-throwing brawl in the middle of a Boston street.
And I was convinced it was real. Just sitting there watching. Oh my!
And then all of a sudden, it goes from like screaming bloody murder to laughing, and they're pointing at us.
Yeah.
And it turns out that they had been fooling us the whole time. Those bastards.
So that brings me to my next question. So you guys have toured with the Somerset on Warped Tour and Stereo Skyline on the Bamboozle Road Show. Did you get a chance to get to know them on those tours?
We know Stereo Skyline pretty well. This is the first tour that we've been able to really hang out with Somerset. Everybody's been super nice on the tour, and actually, I think this is my favorite tour so far.
It's one of our favorite tours.
Right. Well, speaking of Warped Tour and the Bamboozle Road Show, a lot of people have a hard time comparing them to both, seeing as they're both similar and different. What do you guys find the differences and similarities between both of them?
What are a few that you noticed?
There's just way more bands on Warped Tour. It's that was one of the huge things.
Yeah, I think Warped Tour is almost too overwhelming, too many bands. And I think that it's also it's getting really different now because I think a lot of kids come for a certain style of music, and other kids come for another style of music. And I think there becomes this chasm between the fans where it's almost as if there's two separate festivals going on. So it felt a little disconjointed, but they were both really fun to play. Warped Tour is definitely more demanding, especially when you're in a van as opposed to a bus.
Yeah.
So that was something that we had to learn to cope with. But if we do Warped Tour next year, don't have to be in a van.
So you guys recently changed your touring guitarist to Wes. What made you decide that he was the guy that you wanted to bring out with you guys this time around?
David, you know him first.
Yeah, he's just a friend of mine. The touring guitar position is not like a permanent position, so we just get whoever can do the tour. And Alan had to go back to school, so we just decided to get different.
And Wes is really nice, and
we're all getting along.
He's also really good at impressions. So he's always the guy in the background making some funny impression of someone.
Alright, so you guys managed to travel the nation and go to Japan. And by the looks of it, that looked like a fun trip. What was your favorite thing about going to Japan?
For me, meeting kids who love your music, who live on the other side of the globe, who are so passionate about what you do, it's pretty satisfying and humbling. We just feel really lucky to have that opportunity to play over in Japan.
Agree.
So wasn't your schedule really hectic in Japan, like back-to-back shows, or?
Yeah, some of it. It's just the fact that we had to fly
Okay.
to some different islands. Like there were some days where we would take a flight, play the show, and then take a flight to a different island, and then we'd be flying like 4
Yeah.
different times while we're in Japan, and then taking lots of trains and buses and stuff like that.
So what was it like going on a Pokemon plane?
It's awesome.
Was it cool on the inside, or was it just...
It was way cooler on the outside.
Yeah.
so it was deceiving?
It was pretty normal.
It would have been great if they had really gone all out and made it Pokemon themed on the inside.
Alright, so hearing your song on a popular TV show is kind of the same as hearing it on the radio these days. Did you watch the whole episode of Jersey Shore when you...
I think we watched most of it.
Yeah, I did. I was really happy.
Are you guys fans of the show at all?
We didn't really know too much about the show before it aired, but it's certainly entertaining.
Alright, I had a game for the 3 of you, but I guess we can just do it with 2.
Okay.
It's called That's What He Said, and I've taken tweets that you guys said, and then someone has to guess who said what, alright? So, David, who do you think said, in 30 years, I think I'll look a lot like George Clooney?
Definitely Eric.
Cameron, who do you think said Labor Day is just an excuse to do nothing or not go to work?
Eric?
Cameron, who do you think said, I never knew a movie could be so god-awful, I'm about to stab my eyes out?
David.
David, who do you think said, sitting by a merry-go-round, I hate children, especially ones filled with joy?
It's a tough one. I might go with Cameron on this one.
Yeah. Cameron, who do you think said, watch the tour van in booty shorts using my soapy chest to clean the windows, no one else wanted a car wash?
That was me.
Yeah, maybe they just didn't have money for a car wash.
I was there for that.
Yeah, they were all there for that.
Cameron, who do you think said 36 packages of ramen in less than 2 weeks? We live a glamorous life.
Definitely David. So David.
David, who do you think said this song's about Moses? It's called Oceans Between Us.
Eric.
Yeah, that was Eric. David, who do you think said there's a twitch in my leg? My only chance of sleeping tonight is to cut it off. I always wanted to be a peg leg. Yeah, you didn't say that. Well, for both of you guys, this is pretty easy. Who do you guys think said mutant blue water in the plain laboratory is not blue raspberry, but it will turn your tongue a fun color? Yeah. Did you actually try the mutant blue water?
No.
Was that on the Pokemon plane?
Does that lose some of the mystique in my tweets? Sometimes I'm not actually telling the truth. I hope not. But no, I didn't actually try it. Hey, what's up? I'm Cameron.
I'm David.
We're the Downtown Fiction, and you're watching Admit One Media.
I just wanna run